As always, to come your way with business on the marketplace. We're celebrating 25 years of joy. Good afternoon to you. Welcome. Coming up this afternoon, following government's directives on public activities, including need for market centers to practice high level of hygiene, Joy business checks reveal heightened usage of nose masks and gloves by traders. Also coming up, freight forwarders prepare against outbreak of coronavirus at the port. We will be speaking live with President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders for details. Plus, fuel budgets expected to go down as some major oil marketing firms adjust their prices at the pumps from this morning. Many thanks for making a date with me on the marketplace. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. Now, as Ghana recalls new cases of the coronavirus pandemic, government has issued specific directives on public activities, including the need for market centers to practice high level of hygiene. President Akufo-Addo yesterday directed businesses, commercial transport operators, and various hospitality centers to observe strict hygiene procedures. The president also suspended public gatherings for a month to help contain the coronavirus outbreak after the country recorded 6 imported cases of the virus. Let's cut some excerpts now of what the president said last night.
The government of Ghana's travel advisory, issued earlier today, should be observed as announced. Fourthly, businesses and other workplaces can continue to operate, but should observe prescribed social distancing between patrons and staff. Fifthly, establishments such as supermarkets, shopping malls, restaurants, nightclubs, hotels and drinking spots should observe enhanced hygiene procedures by providing, amongst others, hand sanitizers, running water and soap for washing of hands. Sixthly, the Ministry of Transport should work with the transport unions and private and public transport operators to ensure enhanced hygienic conditions in all vehicles and terminals by providing, amongst others, hand sanitizers, running water, and soap for washing of hands.
This directive, Charles IT has visited some parts of the central business district of Accra, where he reports traders are leaving no stones unturned to enhance or to protect themselves against the COVID-19.
When you visit the Makula Market here at the central business district of Accra, you notice something unusual: the use of nose masks and hand gloves.
Any customers which enters our shop, we make sure that we give the customer a sanitizer.
We do know that market centers remain very much exposed to all kinds of diseases, especially when the coronavirus is at stake. But how prepared are they? And of course, is the public awareness and education really intensified along these areas? Ghana has so far recorded 6 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. President Akufo-Addo, as part of public measures to prevent a possible community spread, has tasked the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to coordinate with the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies on measures to enhance conditions and hygiene in markets across the country. With thousands of people moving in and out of Ghana's market centers on a daily basis, traders here are leaving no stone unturned in protecting themselves and even their customers against the deadly virus.
In fact, I'm even surprised at this service because every time I used to come around, but it's not like what she did today.
John Smith is a father of 3 who came prepared to the market. With a nose mask and a pair of gloves, Smith says public awareness is all that's needed to contain the spread of the virus.
It's very important. We have to protect ourselves. We shouldn't wait for the thing to happen before we start protecting ourselves. I'm very happy the government has said that the kids should stay at home. We have to protect ourselves. It's very, very important.
Many others are becoming conscious of the need to stay healthy. As awareness level soars, so does unnecessary panic levels, which has so far left essential commodities like hand sanitizers on high demand. Is the hand sanitizer that expensive now? Because that's what you deal in now.
Yeah, it's very expensive now.
How is it? How much is it going for?
far, people have been selling the big one for 60 cedis, and the small ones for the tiny ones for 7 cedis or 10 cedis.
So me jiska, me do any jiska. Now me be a family, so now me dey hohoro me nsa.
Na gloves and so on.
No. On some me to adie. It's way no me dey rubber ne sha me nsa. I ka ho a. Now me dey sense mango no. Enti ma me hye we no.
So she wears the gloves to peel up the mangoes that she's selling. This is also a precautionary measure that she has taken to protect herself and other customers in that regard. But the interesting part is with the hand sanitizer, where she puts it in a polythene bag. Because of how expensive it is, she gets bits and pieces of the hand wraps from people around who are willing to give it to her for free. Ghana records 6 cases of the coronavirus, and government issuing out public advisory directives. Market women and traders here at the Central Business District of Accra are leaving nothing to chance. They are protecting themselves, they are wearing face masks, some of them are even choosing to transact businesses now using hand gloves strictly, and even to some extent using hand sanitizers, not just for themselves, but also for that of their prospective clients and patrons. I'm Charles Ayeta reporting for Joy Business.
Well, my colleague Fred Duho has also visited the Accra Mall to ascertain the compliance level following the President's directive for enhanced protocol at shopping and marketing centers.
Are well protected from this COVID-19 virus. I am currently at the Accra Mall to check preparedness towards this particular directive as directed by the President of the Republic of Ghana. And I must say, when I came in, I saw dozens of people coming in with their nose masks, some with hand gloves and all this. There is a provision made at the entrance for them to come, stretch their hands to reach out for a bit of sanitizer, and they get their hands cleansed before they go in for shopping. I must say, I have with me the marketing manager of the shopping mall, Anthony, to do a bit of education on why they made provision for this hand sanitizer at the entrance. Can you join me, sir?
Hello, sir.
So tell us briefly, this is Accra Mall, and
yes,
your name and your position.
My name is Anthony Asamoah, marketing manager for the Accra Mall.
You listened to the president yesterday.
Oh, yes, I did.
And what were the key things as a shopping mall you took from his address yesterday?
Thank you very much for this question. Accra Mall is the premium mall in Ghana. And as such, we care about our shoppers so much. So we've put together, a strategy to contain the environment. Okay, so if you look behind me, you can find sanitizers. You see display roll-up banners. We have big banners at the food court. At every vantage point in the mall, we have a sanitizer there for our shoppers, and also we have branding materials to create awareness of the COVID-19 virus.
Yeah. Not everyone coming in is really aware. They see the banner, they see the hand sanitizer, but they do pass by. Do you have anyone actually positioned close to this sanitizer to alert them? Please come closer, to alert them to actually apply a bit of the sanitizer before they go into shop?
Yes, we have our sanitation officers, and we also have our security officers at all the various locations. So at least they inform our shoppers coming in on what is happening, and to also employ them to use the various sanitizers that we put at the vantage points. That's right.
Is this really taking any toll on you, as in providing this? It is something spontaneous. We all didn't expect it, the coronavirus, to actually hit us this hard. So do you have any budget or anything like preparation, as in budget-wise, towards this?
Okay, for Accra Mall, we are always prepared for any eventuality. So what we do is that we make preparation for everything in the course of the year. Okay. So this is not something out of the box or out of the ordinary or affecting us in any way. We care about our shoppers. Our shoppers are the most important people to us, and also our tenants. So we care about them so much that we want to put everything in place for them to be comfortable. So this is not too far-fetched for us at all.
What would be your message, your key message to those who are watching us, who may now be preparing to come in to do some shopping?
Please, my message to all Ghanaians is to keep safe. We should take precaution, and everything that the president said, we should put into practice. And also, when you visit Accra Mall, you are safe, because we have banners, we have sanitizers. If you go to the washroom, we have running water, we have soap dispensers and everything in place for you to be comfortable. So please, I'll urge everybody to stay safe and nobody should take it for granted. Please, let's stay safe in this period. Thank you very much.
I think lastly, do you have any complaint desk where people who come in and they have any issues with their preparedness, if they are not satisfied in any way, they can walk to that desk and lodge any formal complaint?
Yes, they can always find the management office where the security guys can direct them to the management office, and they can always lodge their complaints in the management office. The security guys are always on standby 24/7 to assist anybody with inquiry. Yes.
Thank you very much. So you heard from the marketing manager of the Accra Mall, Anthony, and now let's speak to some of the shoppers, those who are coming in to do some bits of shopping, whether real shopping or window shopping. Let's engage them to give us some feed on why they think they are prepared towards this project.
And that was Fred Duho bringing us up to speed with some latest developments on the coronavirus. We still want to stay a little longer on that. The Bank of Ghana has directed all financial institutions to fully activate all electronic channels to ensure access to funds are not affected in the wake of the coronavirus. This is one of the several measures the Bank of Ghana has announced following a ban of public gatherings in the country because of the virus. JoyNews has been going through the statement. He joins me right here in the studio for more update. George, why this particular statement now?
Well, everybody was looking up to the Bank of Ghana to come up with some update on what the Bank of Ghana is doing or it is going to do in times like this. So basically it was an update of what they are going to do. But also they also sought to advise the players in the industry. In those times like this, some of these institutions have already taken measures in trying to control the limited funds available in their vaults. And you heard people already talking about the fact that they cannot access their funds from the ATM. And the Bank of Ghana is asking them that, listen, rather in times like this, you want to activate all these channels and make sure that anybody who walks into a financial institution can get access to his or her deposit. So don't do anything that would impede access to funds. Activate all these channels. Whilst he's also advising these commercial banks, these financial institutions, the Bank of Ghana is also asking us that, listen, the money is there, so don't indulge in any panic withdrawals. Also, it is reminding these banks that, listen, you are also identified as a public institution. You are engaging the public and all the rest. So put in place all the required measures that is supposed to protect depositors. So in terms of the protocols, the engagement, putting in place the sanitizers, protective equipment and others, because you also engaging. So the statement also sought to remind these institutions that comply with all the directives that have been issued by the Ghana Health Services, government, the presidency in trying to contain this. Now everybody has been talking about how is this going to impact on the economy. The Bank of Ghana is saying that, listen, we are just about starting our monetary policy committee meeting, and therefore we are doing that. Other economies, other banks have responded. The recent Federal Reserve actually cut the rate to 0, and that is going to have an impact on our economy and even our bonds. So we are also having our own meeting, and therefore at the right time we're going to come out with the necessary report as to how our economy is going to be affected, what the Bank of Ghana has to do. We also have to cut down the policy rate to try and stimulate access or help access to funds in these times when we know that, looking at what is happening, non-performing loans might be affected, or my issues of people paying back their loans will also be affected. So these are some of the things that were captured in the statement that the Bank of Ghana issued.
Was there any indication that some banks had maybe deliberately shut down the ATMs?
I think that it might be early days yet, but if you go through the rumor, or if you're trying to pick what's going on in the rumor mill, it is clear that it might be a deliberate attempt by these commercial banks out there. But if you have this bit of the information, which is more of a directive to these commercial banks, you know what will happen if you fail to comply, because these are rather the times that we need these electronic platforms to work, because you also want to avoid the direct human-to-human contact, and therefore it might be easier to walk or sit in your home, do all these transactions on the internet, and then I get access to my funds.
Now we hear, Dr. Papa Kwesi has also put out something in relation to the coronavirus outbreak.
I think that he believes that, listen, these are the times when you have to support local industries. Now, people are saying that, again, there's a whole argument about the fact that this virus, again, makes a strong case for us to grow our local industries. People are talking about how imports are being affected. People are talking about the fact that their raw materials they're supposed to bring in from China are delayed and all the rest. If you're producing more of these inputs in the country, we can be able to absorb the shocks. there is some little impact or sustained impact on the Ghana cedi in terms of these offshore investors who bought into our bonds and now they're kind of moving into gold assets. If we have been able to raise enough money internally, we might limit our exposure to these bonds that we are raising a lot of money from these international investors. So again, he's highlighting the point that, listen, these are the times to support local industries, more of a stimulus package to them to support them, because other economies are doing the same thing. And therefore, government has to take some critical measures to ensure that the local interests, the local businesses are supported in these challenging times.
Thank you very much, George, for that update. Let's move on to other stories still in coronavirus. Mining firms are said to be taking steps to ensure that they are not hit by the virus while reducing the impact on their operations. Golden Star Resources visiting Group Chief Executive Andrew Ray has been speaking with Joy Business.
Working on since the start of the year, as soon as the virus broke. Given it was China, the immediate thought was we need to try and make sure our supply base is protected. So we've been in close communication with suppliers. We've been looking at alternative sources of supply elsewhere in the world. And so far we haven't luckily seen any real impact. So we've managed to keep the supply from China, and we do have alternatives. So we keep that under review. I had a conversation with the head of our supply business today because he's constantly talking to suppliers. And it's not just mining, a lot of industries get their supplies from China. So that's the one part of it. The other part that is critically important is our people, the health of our people, trying to ensure that we don't suffer any cases at our mine sites, that we minimize the risk of that. So we're going to be stopping all non-essential travel, which means most of the people coming in, particularly from outside of Ghana, and stop them from coming on to the mine site. When people do come onto the mine site, already we've got a protocol where they have to declare information. If we believe there's a risk, we can test them. We're going to do temperature testing of people entering the mine site to detect if any people have fever, which is one of the key symptoms. So we're going to try as much as possible to prevent that risk of the virus coming onto our sites. Because for a mining operation, the real risk there is that you then have to quarantine your operation and you can't produce. And we're going to see other businesses in that position. We're going to do everything we can to prevent that, to ensure people understand the precautions to take, and to take those precautions back into their community. Because again, there's a very real risk there that, you know, people see the signs at work, they see everybody washing their hands, but then they can forget them when they're in their home or they're a bit more relaxed. So we want to try to make sure, and I've seen the commercials on TV that the Health Ministry is running. And
meanwhile, AngloGold Ashanti Ghana yesterday confirmed an employee at its Obuasi gold mine has tested positive. The employee, according to a statement from the mining giant, is a Ghanaian who lives in the mine's accommodation facility and recently returned from a UK trip. The Ghana Mine Workers Union is urging mining firms to activate a travel ban in all forms following the first recorded case of corona at mines to help minimize the spread of the virus. Let's speak with General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union, Abdul Mumin Gbana. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the marketplace.
Yes, good afternoon.
All right, now my question to you is, what does this news or the news of the announcement of the coronavirus at AngloGold mean to the mining industry?
Well, the bit about this coronavirus is certainly a major concern to all of us. It's a deadly virus, and if we witness what has gone on, particularly in the developed world, it is so scary. But what we will say as a union is that it is not appropriate to get into any scary mood or to get into any panic situation, because there are protocols, there are procedures that we all need to deploy. Once we are able to do that effectively, I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to tone down, if not deal decisively with any potential spread of the virus. But what it means for the mining industry is that certainly the effect on production would come with some level of skepticism, because at some point, if it requires that, production would have to be halted just so that we can ensure the health and safety of workers, and by extension the communities in which they live, is fully protected. I'm sure that decision will be made. But in the meantime, we are confident that with the protocols and the procedures that are out there, once we are able to follow through, religiously, we should be able to deal with the issue in a more decisive manner.
All right, now, what impact will a travel ban that you are proposing have on protecting mine workers?
No, say that again.
Yes, earlier you've called for a travel ban to be activated. What impact will it make on protecting the mine workers?
No, I mean, the bit about travel ban, in the mining industry, there are quite a number of expatriates who work in that sector. And for that matter, any ban will mean that those special skills may not be readily available to the operations of the sector. And for that matter, be a concern. But this also brings us to the conversation around localization and a bit about skill transfer. So with the training programs in place, I'm quite confident that over the period that most of these expatriates have worked within the sector, there have been transfer of skills, and for that matter, if one of by virtue of the travel ban will not be available in this country, operations shouldn't come to a halt.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Mumin Bana, he's the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union of Ghana. It's still on Marketplace Live. Let's turn our attention now to the polls, and we'll take a short break here and bring you details of that shortly. Welcome back. Now, let's turn our attention now to the ports and the various entry points where lots of business interactions take place between various players. We want to engage President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Edward Akron, on what measures the Institute has taken to adopt to keep members safe. We joined via live by the President of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders now, Edward Akron. Mr. Akron, good afternoon. Welcome to the Marketplace.
Yeah.
Now, so what have you done so far to prevent the spread of the coronavirus among your fold?
Well,
President's announcement yesterday and the directives, we have actually, disseminated same to our members in all 6 districts that we have. And so we have just told them same, in lieu of the, social distancing protocols, members have been advised to stay away from the secretariats unless it is very necessary. We have also advised all our secretariats to have, all the sanitary and hygienic, whatever they need, water, soap, detergents, hand sanitizers, paper towels, and everything in place, just in case. So members or staff who are not really, need to be in the office can stay at home. We can work from home. And then we've provided phone numbers, emergency phone numbers for all members who need any information.
All right, we thank God that everything is under control under that area. But what about Unipass? You're supposed to be having some test runs at the Takoradi port. Has it come on? How far?
Okay, your questioning, I think you're a very low one. But I think if you're asking about the about the Unipass situation as it stands now, basically it's the status quo. I mean, like I said the other day, the senior minister's letter basically, was talking about the roll-on to the Unipass system in certain stations, custom stations. The major ones we were worried about were basically Alubo and Aflao, and as to what was going to happen if the roll-on. I can report back to you that as we speak, for these 2 stations, I know of only one member of ours who has done a declaration on the Unipass system. And
all right. I'm afraid we have to cut it short here because of time, and we'll definitely get back to you in our subsequent editions of our business bulletins. That's it for the marketplace today. My name is Aboagye-Wiafe. Have a good afternoon.